Welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon from iHeartRadio. Your pop culture news, views, reviews, and celebrity interviews on all the movies, TV, music, and pop culture you crave weekly. Here's Kyle McMahon.
I am here with Fandango correspondent Nikki Novak, and I'm so excited to talk to you, Nikki, about Valentine's Day, the films that we can go out and see in theaters, and as well as like kind of the evergreen stuff that we can watch, at home in the comfort of our own home, especially with this cold weather, if we're going to be staying in. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. I have to point out that you're wearing a sweatshirt that says what? I love horror movies.
Yes.
So are you like the anti-Valentine's person?
I am. So I actually just launched a merch store, and this is in the first collection, which is all about horror. Thank you. So, yes, it's funny because I'm not anti-love or anything, but I just find so many romance movies like so cliche. Like you see, oh, I just met this guy yesterday and now I'm completely in love. And oh, he's going back to his small hometown and he's broken my heart. And oh, but right before he goes, on the plane, he's decided that, he's going to stay and we're going to get married. And it's like, bro, you met last week. Like, can we relax a little?
It sounds like my perfect relationship. What are you talking about? It's my dream.
It's just, and of course I'm kind of characterizing, not every movie is like that, but I just feel like the genre tends to do that. And so I'm just not a big fan, but I'm sorry.
It's interesting that you say that because like for a while, I don't know if you remember, there was all these movies that were coming out, these rom-coms that were like a rom-com, but we're going to turn it upside down. It's not what you thought about a rom-com for that exact reason that people found them very cliche. Then there was this whole wave of like Hallmark movies got really popular again, where people like really leaned right back into it. When the pendulum goes one way, the pendulum always goes the other way. And then Anyone But You came out with Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell, which was right back to sort of that traditional rom-com, but I thought very well done. I've watched it multiple times. I don't know if you liked it or saw it, but that sort of like kickstarted this idea of, hey, maybe we should go back to doing more romantic films because it did so well at the box office. But like, yeah, we're going to talk about a couple today that are, coming out in theaters. One of them that I wouldn't call it it's not a rom-com by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, I can't wait to dive in and talk to you about it.
Well, now I need to know what it is.
Well, Wuthering Heights.
Mm.
So that's coming out day before Valentine's Day. And have you heard of all the buzz that is happening for this movie with Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi?
I have, and I will say, so I, obviously I've seen the trailers and stuff, and I haven't watched it yet, but I'm actually interested in seeing this.
Yeah, well, if you like, you seem like a cinephile, so like if you love Emerald Fennell movies, that she's going to take something and she's going to twist it a little and make it dark. So, it is, and I hate using these types of phrases because like sometimes they don't age. Like I go back and I go, oh, did I really feel that way? But I truly think it's one of the greatest romantic films I've seen.
Wow.
And I just think she just had, she obviously loved the book. I actually interviewed the whole cast in December in London. And I asked her about the fact that the film was in quotation marks. And this is the Emily Bronte novel from 1847. And, it's been done a couple of times in film and people who are, book lovers are very precious about the book. But she is one of those book lovers. And she said to me, look, it's so dense, the book. This is not even an adaptation. This is my interpretation.
Mm.
This is like me reading the book and what I glean from it. But I just feel like not only is it excellent, but it's hit the zeitgeist in a way that like Barbie did, where people are already planning their dress it, like what they're going to wear to the theater, where it's going to be like an event. It's going to be more than a movie. It's going to be an event. Jacob Elordi's having a moment. He was nominated for Frankenstein for an Oscar. People love him. He's delightful, but they just did a really good job with this film. It's so gut-wrenching.
Mm.
It's one of the most stunning, like, not even it's, sometimes people will say, oh, the movie's pretty and it's gorgeous to look at, and that doesn't say a lot, but it's the way she sort of weaves to get the story into the shots that she chooses. I can't say enough good things about it. But
Okay.
Allison, Oliver, who plays the sister, people mark my words, this is a name that she's gonna get cast in a million things off this. She is like a scene stealer, she plays this crazy character, like, and you talk to her and she's this English flower, like, really sweet, and her character's so over the top. But yeah, it's kinda got everything.
Well, now you have me actually excited because it was already abnormal for me to be like, here's a trailer for a romantic movie that I'm interested in. So I was already kind of like, you know what? Maybe I'll see
What's happening
this.
to me?
Yeah. But now with how you're hyping it up, now I'm like, okay, like maybe I'm going to make a point to go see this in the theater, like opening weekend sort of thing.
I do think it is a theatrical movie. It's one of those you really have to see it, like, even the way, like, there's one shot in the film, I'm like, "I don't even know how she did it." But, it takes place on the moors and that, but it's I think the reason too, like, it's romantic, but it's very dark. I mean, if you know the story, it's a very dark story. It's not necessarily a romance. It's more about obsession, class difference, that kind of thing. And I sort of love, I mean, I liked Saltburn, I liked her other films, but this is definitely my favorite of Emerald's movies. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, now
highly
I'm super hyped.
recommend.
What else can we expect in theaters for people, kind of looking for that type of theater experience, date night on, Valentine's weekend sort of thing?
So, this is a good one if you don't wanna go and see a traditional romance, but there's romance in it. So, it's Crime 101.
Mm.
It stars Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, who we know from Marvel very well, also stars Halle Berry, um, and he plays this jewel thief. It's really like a '90s throwback to,
Mm.
like, the '90s Heat movies. It's kind of like I went into it being totally honest, and I'm like, "It's probably not gonna be that good." Hadn't heard much about it. I walked down and went, and then one of my colleagues had seen it, and we text each other, we're like, "Wait, that was amazing." And so, anyway, Chris plays this jewel thief. He's a peaceful one, he's not committing, like, he's not hurting anybody, but he has this boss that he works for, he doesn't like, so he decides to go off on his own and do this one last heist to set himself up for life. He meets Monica Barbaro, the actress Monica Barbaro's character, but his whole mantra has been like, "I am flawless at my job because I don't have personal relationships," and then he meets this girl. And but really the story, I mean, so there is a bit of a romance, so it's perfect for Valentine's if you wanna go out on a date night, like, if you're going out as a couple and the guy's like, I wanna see an action movie," and she's like, "I wanna see a romantic movie," this is a movie because
Okay.
it's kind of got both. But the thing I'll say most about it, it's one of those when when you're watching a movie and you go, "I really hope they stick the landing," like, I hope the ending is as good as this thing is, because 'cause you're on the edge of your seat, and if the payoff isn't good, the
Yeah.
whole movie falls apart. The payoff is phenomenal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mark Ruffalo plays a cop, which he does a lot, but he's just he's got all those mannerisms.
Yeah.
It's just great.
Have you seen Dracula, A Love Story?
I haven't seen the one that came out earlier this month, no.
Yes. So, I love it. I'm a huge horror fan, obviously, and this take is extremely interesting. I've watched all of the kind of Dracula interpretations over the years, and this is more romance focused, actually,
Yeah.
where it's more, it's more of a Dracula, the love of his life has passed away, and he is waiting, 400 years later, we essentially meet him, and this whole time he's been trying to figure out, how do I bring the love of my life back? And
Sounds like Wuthering Heights, by the way, if you
does
know
it?
the book.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was a super unique take that I had never seen before. I had always kind of seen Dracula as the villain, obviously, or the anti-hero, and, I had interviewed the cast and all, and I was telling, Caleb Landry Jones plays Dracula, and
He's
I
great.
love him. He always
Yeah.
dives into, his character, and I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know that the lengths that you go through in this movie for a love, like, I mean, I really love tacos. Maybe like I would do it for tacos or something, but like, I don't know that I could go to the lengths. Like, you have to love somebody so much, and obviously I do, but it's a way different take than the traditional kind of Dracula story is, and so it's really fresh and interesting, and I absolutely love it. And I was surprised going in. I mean, they kind of were putting on the a love story subtitle and then taking it off in the promotion, and I think they ended up dropping it for the release, but it really is. This take is really a love story and talks about, how far will we go for the people that we love?
It's interesting you say that, and maybe that's sort of what is gripping people about that movie and Wuthering is that it sort of harkens back to people, like, who are just hopeless romantics, and that's the focus of their life, and they will go to those lengths because I feel like we live in this society where people are like, "Oh, I don't like the way you ate that chip. I'm out."
Yeah.
Like, speed dating, like, all of, like, online dating, so maybe it's people are just craving that, like, all-encompassing love. I
Yeah.
have to ask you then, did you like Frankenstein, the
I
Guillermo?
did. I love
Yeah.
everything Guillermo does, and that was no different. I love the interpretation of that. As soon as I heard that he was signed on for it, I was excited because I feel like that, if there was a project I could choose for him, it would be that. It would be
Yeah,
Frankenstein. And so I just
yeah.
think he absolutely nailed it. Jacob was amazing. I mean, everything. I love that movie so much.
I thought she was amazing.
She
I thought she
is.
was perfectly cast,
Yeah.
and she doesn't get as not as many people are talking about her. I think obviously Jacob was sort of like the breakout star of it. What's your favorite Del Toro movie?
Ah, I would say either Frankenstein or Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah,
Eh,
that's the classic that
yeah.
everybody chooses. I really loved The Shape of Water. I thought that was beautiful. It
S
gets some backlash, but I loved it.
yeah, so I have mixed feelings. I do love it, and I do, I love him, but I felt weird because I'm like, it I know it's, like, metaphorical or whatever, but I'm like, it's like a fish man, like, that's kinda weird. But then I have to think, like, okay, Beauty and the Beast and that sort of thing. But,
And what was the one with Tom Hanks
oh,
and Daryl
Splash.
Hannah?
Splash,
Splash.
yes. Yeah, oh, I never even thought about that. Jeez. Yeah, so I had to kind of, keep saying to myself, "Kyle, it's not a real fish man, like, she's not, making love to a fish man." I kinda had
But
to
she is.
but she is, yeah. So I kind of had to be like, "Let's go a little bit more metaphorical, Kyle, like, it's alright."
That's how yeah, and I also loved I think the visuals on it
Yeah,
were just
stunning.
stunning, like,
Yes.
some of his best, but Frankenstein really maybe topped it. I went to the premiere of that one, and it was like I saw it at the Academy Museum in LA, and the
Mhm.
Academy Museum is the most insane theater, of course, as you would expect it to be, and it's brand new, and it's got all these red velvet chairs, and it's very classic but new. The sound of the whole thing, it was unbelievable, yeah,
That
such a
would
good night.
it sounds like it would be the perfect place to
Yeah,
see that.
yeah.
What else are you thinking, people would be interested in for, like, the Valentine's Day holiday timeframe at
So,
theaters?
okay, so there's a couple more if you really wanna lean into, like, 80s, 90s nostalgia, Pretty in Pink. I
Mm,
have you ever seen Pretty in Pink?
I have not. I know, it's
I had a
crazy.
feeling,
Yeah.
that's why I asked. So, Pretty in Pink is one of my favorite romantic films, and it starred Molly Ringwald, Andrew McCarthy, John Cryer, and it's back in theaters. It's celebrating its 40th anniversary, so it's back in theaters just February 13th to 16th, just
Okay.
for the Valentines, and that is one I am going to see in the
Mhm.
theater because, when you have the opportunity to see a movie you love that much
Yeah.
back on the big screen, you're so used to seeing it at home, and it really does make a difference to see it
Yeah.
that way, so, yeah, so I'd recommend that one.
Is that really quick, is that John Hughes?
Yeah, he wrote it,
Okay.
directed Howard Deutsch
Mm.
directed it and he wrote it. I knew
Okay.
there was, like, a twist. Yeah. So, yeah, so that's, it's such a classic. Do you like classic films?
I
Are you
do.
into classic?
I am,
Yeah,
yes.
but probably not the rom the rom-commy ones. But, yeah, I would say, like, people always talk about 16 Candles being, like, the greatest sort of teen angst love movie of all time, but I think Pretty in Pink blows it away.
Okay.
It's yeah,
Alright.
it's just
So it is
please, I'm
something I
begging
should
you.
check out? Okay. I will. I will.
I have a feeling you won't, but
No, 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 no. If I say I will, I really
you
will.
c yeah, 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 yeah,
Um,
and then the other thing you can watch at home would be Bridgerton, which just came out with its 4th season, and they're breaking it up into 2 parts, so the first half of it dropped at the end of January, and then they announced, it had, like, 40 million households watched it. Of course, it's, like, the number 1 movie on Netflix. But, I don't know if you've watched Bridgerton, but every season, they have kind of, like, the same cast of characters, but they focus on a new couple.
okay.
And so, what they've really managed to do, like, when you watch a show and you're really into the characters
Yeah.
that you love and know, and you wanna see what's happening with them. So, they had a huge task because the 1st season, the couple that they had were so successful and became, cultural pop culture zeitgeist kind of thing that people are like, "Oh, I don't wanna not see them in season 2 because it's gonna be a whole new couple, whole new storyline, they're gonna be in the background." But then they did it again,
Mm.
and, like, they had another couple that, like, popped, and they've so this is the 4th season, and I think this might be my favorite one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's kind of a Cinderella story where this guy, Benedict Bridgerton, who's part of this prominent family, goes to this ball, and the queen every year picks a diamond. She picks a female where she's like, "Okay, you're gonna go off and meet all these men, and then you're gonna be engaged by the end of the season." Well, for the first time, she picks a guy, and at the same ball, he meets this woman who's, like, wearing a mask because it's a masquerade ball, and he's, like, mesmerized, and he's, like, a complete, like, party boy before that. He won't settle down. He sees this girl, he's mesmerized. Turns out she's, like, crashed the party. She's a maid.
Mm.
And in those times, it's just not happening, and so she takes off, and so then they meet again, and he doesn't realize it's her. And that's the part of you have to, like, suspend your disbelief because 'cause you're like, "There's no way he doesn't realize it's her,"
Right.
but they still get you because it's so good. I don't expect you to watch that one, but Bridgerton fans out there, 4 more episodes to go but we have to wait till after Valentine's. They're not dropping on Netflix till, like, February 26th, but, they dropped them, like, the first 4 just in time, left us on a cliffhanger
Mm.
that you have to, like, yeah, you gotta wait for it.
What are some of your favorites, like, at home? Like, your kinda classic, you decide you're staying in it's a snowstorm in LA for some reason, or you're out in New York and you're staying in. What are some of your kind of favorites that, we could flip on Fandango at home and fire up some good stuff?
So, I'm gonna start with one that's maybe not that well known, Past Lives.
Okay.
I don't know if
Uh,
you've heard it.
is that,
Heard
Jolie? Angelina
it's
Jolie?
Celine Song.
S s Oh,
It's Celine Yeah,
yeah.
Celine Song was the director of it, and then she did Materialists after that.
Yes, yes.
Mm, but it's based on her life story, and she grew up, um, I wanna say South Korea. She grew up in South Korea, and she had this childhood friend, and they were, like, best friends, and then her family moves to the United States, and she never doesn't see him, like, back then, no social media, none of that sort of stuff, or connecting through iPhones or whatever, and then she ends up getting married to this guy. This is not a spoiler. She ends up getting married to this guy, and then her childhood friend finds her online, like, 20 years later and is like, "I'm coming to the States. I'd love to see you." And it's this crazy story of how she just sort of, like, is torn because she sees him and they fully have you can tell they're fully if they weren't torn apart, they would have married each other. They are soulmates, but she deeply loves her husband, and the sort of not a twist, but is that the husband fully embraces, like, "No, you need to go and hang out with him, and while he's here," and then they all go out to dinner one night, and it's, like, the most awkward, but I don't even know if I'm doing it justice, but You know those movies that you watch and you go, "This is gonna be one of my favorite movies of all time."
Yeah. Yep.
It's that movie. It's that good.
Wow.
It was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture. So it's a romance, but it's just beautifully done. I
Yeah.
liked Materialist, I didn't love it, but this one is just phenomenal.
Okay. One of mine. Have you seen Blue Valentine?
Yes. Rai Rai.
What'd you say? What's the last part?
I said, "Oh, you mean my Rai Rai?"
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is so it's definitely, I feel like, kind of an anti-Valentine's movie, uh, I think it is so masterfully done, and that's one that I would fire up on, like, on Valentine's Day weekend. I just think
Yeah.
it's beautiful from start to finish, and, Ryan is I mean, really, everybody in it is amazing. It's so well directed. I mean, it's, well directed, it's well written. It's just I think it's a beautiful film. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that movie comes up when you talk about great romance films, because it's a little darker too, it's,
Mhm.
like, not, like you said, that traditional. But yeah, I'll add I'll add a couple to the Rai Rai list.
Okay.
The Notebook. I'm
Of
so
course.
cliche.
Yes, yes.
La La Land. I'm so cliche.
La La Land. See, I like La La Land. Like, I feel like La La Land. I don't know. For me, it's different than like The Notebook. And I don't mean to roll my eyes when I say The Notebook, but I have to. Every time I say it, it's like, I don't know. It's like a bodily reaction. But like, I feel like The Notebook is one of those things that it is like your traditional, when you think of a romance movie, like it's that. You know what I mean? And I feel like
Yes.
girls, like teenagers, love it, and like every age, and I'm sure tons of men that like it too, but I'm saying, like, it's one of those things that if you talk to a girl and you're
Yes.
discussing a romance movie, like, they're gonna bring up The Notebook. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah, there's certain ones, and it's funny because, like, sometimes when people ask me, like, my favorite romance films, I feel like it is so cliche to say films like that, but every time you put it on, there's a reason, like, I get engrossed all the same. I have to say, though, like, I I have to turn that movie off at a certain point.
okay, I haven't
Like,
seen
when
it.
they get to the Oh, okay, never mind. You haven't seen it?
No.
Okay, there's a certain point where it gets so sad that I have to
It's
turn it
too
off because I've
much.
seen it a million times, like, I've
Yeah.
probably seen it 50 times, if not more. So, at a certain point, I'm like, "I know where this goes from here. I don't need to cry today. I'm not gonna I'm not doing it."
That's
Um,
that's Nicholas Sparks, right? Wrote
yeah,
wrote
it's
the
based
book?
on yeah, yeah, and then Cassavetes, directed it.
Okay.
Nis Cassavetes. Um, Nick? Yeah, that's his name. Um, Clearly doing really well with directors' names today. Yeah, no, it's just this is gonna sound superficial, but I don't think there's ever been 2 more beautiful people on
Yeah.
screen
Yeah.
ever than those 2. The way he shot it, the whole thing. I'll throw one out there
Yeah.
because it's platonic love, and
Okay.
that's Lost. One of my favorite films of all time is Lost in Translation,
Yes.
directed by Sofia Coppola. You've seen it.
Bill
Love it.
Murray, yeah.
Bill Murray at his finest. Scarlett Johansson, her breakout role. Scarlett Johansson with a mullet.
Yeah.
But I I feel like would you classify that as a romantic film or, like, friendship, or how would you
I
classify
would
it?
say it's like a romantic film, or at least romantic, like, adjacent, you know? Um, I feel like kind of the catch-all is a drama, that you could just throw it under, but it is one of those films that's kind of multifaceted in, you could have so many hyphenates with that, where it's, uh but I feel like a lot of her work is like that, Coppola.
Yeah, she's cool, and she doesn't do that many movies, so every time she does something, I get pretty excited, but that was by hands down my favorite. I did work in Japan a long, long time ago, and just the Bill Murray scene where he's doing the century times, the drink, so exactly my experience. And so I think I have a personal connection to it too, but the ending when he whispers in her ear, every time I watch that movie and I have this superstition that every time I fly over water, they usually have it on the plane, I watch it. So I've
Okay.
seen it a lot, but every time the same thing happens because no one really knows what he whispered in her ear at the end, and they've even tried, like, turning up in
Yeah.
post, like, and they kinda can't figure it out. But I every time I watch it again, I go back and I Google again to see if anybody's figured it out, because it breaks my heart. Like, I want them it's weird because there's obviously a huge age difference, but, like, I really wanted them to continue their relationship in some form. I just don't want to think that they never saw each other or
Yeah.
talked to each other again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that can happen where you have this moment with somebody and then you leave, and then that was the moment was captured in that space and time and would never be the same.
Yeah.
And that kinda stuff drives me crazy, breaks my heart.
Me
Yeah.
too. See, I like interesting films like that, even no matter what genre they are, where it's like, it's almost a twist on. So in the in the genre of romance, it's almost a twist on the kind of more cliche version where they're happy and and it's a nice wrapped bow at the end. I like that where it really because to me that's real life. You could meet somebody and that could legitimately happen. I mean, not that you can't, do the rom-com cliche life, but I mean, to me, that's like the real day-to-day life where you had this amazing time with somebody that you met at the beach or something when you were on vacation and
Yeah.
your lives go separate ways. And it's so amazing that, night or a few days or whatever that you shared with them, but it doesn't exist outside of that. And so
Mhm.
those are the things that really more challenging things that I think I
And
like.
I think that when you try to capture a moment or an essence on screen, it's hard to do, and I think that's why we do have cliche romances because the cliche things are easier. But that film, and then I would say Past Lives does this thing where a look, a touch, like when he touches her hand in bed, like that was so like such a charged moment, but it was just him touching her hand, and I'm thinking of, like, what that script must have looked like.
Yeah,
Like, the script was probably awesome, but, like, so much of it was captured between in the performances in the moment. It reminded me I'll tell you a quick Bill Murray story if you wanna hear it. So
please.
Bill Murray is like, like, I interview people for a living and probably interviewed, like, 5,000 actors, but, like, had never interviewed Bill Murray. He was sort of like the GOAT. I
Yeah,
always wanted to meet him, and everybody was like, "Oh, well, he can be a little cranky." I'm like, I'll charm him."
yeah.
So I'm at this Golden Globes after party, and he's standing it was the year that, Green Book,
Oh yeah,
uh, was on a run, and I think it had won that night. He's friends with, Peter Farrelly, and so he actually here's the funny thing. So I was backstage doing interviews in that. I didn't see the end of the show, so I didn't see who announced Best Picture. Well, he announced Best Picture. I didn't know that. All I know is I go to this after party and he's there and he's standing in the corner at this bar setup and he's like super cranky looking and he has all this security around him. And so I'm like, I'll just step past that security and I'll go over. And he starts like instantly, like I said to him, I was like, so what brings you here? He goes, he's like, "Oh, I just announced Best Picture." And I was like, "Oh," I said, "I had no idea." So he instantly thought I was so dumb because I'm like, "How are you at the Golden Globes? You don't know this." And I said, "I didn't know I was backstage and whatever." So he starts making fun of me, and so I start making fun of him. And then he says to his security, like, you know, "Give this girl some water because she's on fire." He was clearly, like, like, not into it. And I was just like, "Okay, you have a nice night, Bill. Nice to meet you." And I, like, went off, and all my friends were, like, on one side of the room, and they're all, like, snapping pictures of the moment, and they're like, "Oh my god, oh my god." And they didn't realize I was just like, I don't think he wanted to talk to me. Anyway, yeah.
but
So,
that's
yeah,
such a
it's
Bill
not
Murray story,
I
though.
did not charm him whatsoever.
But that's such an awesome Bill Murray
Totally.
story. Like now you have your very own Bill Murray story.
I have my very own lost in we were definitely lost in translation. He didn't get, like, my deal, I didn't get his deal. It was yeah, but still love the guy. Love him.
Speaking of those kinds of, kind of twists, the breakup with Vince Vaughn
Jennifer
and Jennifer
Aniston.
Aniston. Like, to me, that's such a great anti-Valentine's Day movie. Like, it's so real life. And I think that's why I'm attracted to it, or, drawn to it, is because, like, yeah, we have these ups, but we also have these downs. And I feel like a lot of movies don't ever go and focus on the downs. And so that's
Yeah.
why I think it's so interesting. And these are two, I think, beautiful people that at the surface should, a very surface level, like, should work, in the context of the film. But it doesn't, because they have, various life things, and they're growing apart and all that. So I love that movie, and I feel like it's, like, slept on, even though at the time, if I remember correctly, it was a hit. But I feel like nobody, like, brings it up anymore, and I think it's such a good film.
No, I think people do. Actually think people do
Do
as the
they?
anti-romance thing, and I
Oh,
think
yeah.
yeah, and I think, it's one of those movies I think I only watched, like, twice
Mhm.
because it's hard to
It
watch
is
because
hard to
you
watch.
relate to it so much of how painful it is to go through a breakup when you don't work and you know it can't work, but you still want it to work and
Yeah.
you keep trying different angles and then it just doesn't, and then it just deteriorates
Yeah.
badly from there. Speaking of the anti-romance, Phantom Thread, have you seen Phantom Thread?
I have not. You know what? It was on my list for a long time, and then I kind of forgot about it. So that is
Did you like
one
One Battle? Are you like a PTA, Paul
I
Thomas
am.
Anderson?
Yes, I did
Yeah.
like One Battle. Yes. But Phantom Thread, so you do like that?
So, actually one of my favorite PTA movies because Daniel Day-Lewis, number 1, we don't see enough of him anymore.
Yeah.
He retired and then he came out of retirement for his son's movie, but now he's who knows if he's gonna do anything else. But yeah, it's kind of a wild premise. He plays a fashion designer, so you think, the trailers made it just look like he meets this woman and, um, she's kind of like his muse, so to speak. And so he's this revered fashion photographer, and then the tables turn and it gets very dark. And if you like Paul Thomas Anderson
I do.
movies or Thomas Anderson movies and you remember like even Magnolia when it's
Love
rained
that.
frogs, and I hate frogs and it ruined the movie for me, but that's another story. But yeah, he loves to throw a wrench in at the
Yeah.
end, and something happens at the end of this movie that is like, "What?"
Yeah.
It's one of the
Okay.
craziest endings of a movie I've ever seen. It's bizarre, and I think when it came out, you either love that ending or you were like, "What?" So I hope I have you intrigued now.
Yeah, you do. And now I'm
Can't
like,
go wrong with PTA.
no, I mean, and it's actually the only film of his I think that I have not seen. So you've, like, bumped it back up on my watch list now, because now I'm like, hmm. And Magnolia, I mean, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. And that whole frog scene was like a what? And so now you've got me. I'm like, what did he come up with this one? So,
Yeah.
where can we get more information about you? Where can we follow all of your awesome stuff?
Oh, you're so sweet. All the channels I'm on mostly I'm on Instagram. I don't really tweet anymore. I lurk. I don't really
Same.
tweet, but at Nikki Novak, you can always find me at Fandango. I'm doing a lot of, exciting interviews for them all the time. We have this thing that people should definitely check out that we have that's really unique is I think everybody kind of knows what a junket is these days and that actors sit there and they talk to like many different outlets in a day, but we have this thing called Big Ticket, our Big Ticket interviews where we sit down with the cast before anybody else. And it's usually several months before the movie comes out, and we sit down not just like one-on-ones, but it's like the whole cast together, and then we air them, when the tickets go on sale. So we sort of have, a little run, like we put ours out for Wuthering Heights. I interviewed the cast in December in London and it trended and went all over the place, but they're really fun sit downs because we get to sit down with the whole cast together for like 30 minutes.
That's awesome.
So definitely check those out. But yeah, and I just started doing TikTok. I just didn't do it for so long, and then I had, and this will put a bow on everything, but I had this moment at the Critics' Choice Awards because when I interviewed Jacob in December in um, London for Wuthering Heights, he had just been nominated for a Critics' Choice, and I just have a real instinct about who's gonna win, and I just said, "I think you're winning." But everybody at the time thought it was Sean Penn or Benicio del Toro for One Battle, And so when he won, I went up to his table. I'm like, told you. And he's like, you're a sorceress. And then he ran up and gave me like a big hug and a kiss as he was walking out the door. Well, if you know anything about Jacob Elordi's fandom, my friend who's big on TikTok, like put this TikTok together and she was literally recording the behind the scenes. I didn't even take a picture with him. And she was like, no, put it up on TikTok and just see what happens. It was like my first post ever, and I got like 1.5 million views. So I'm like, I'm doing TikTok. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And now like I'm posting other stuff and I'm trying to get it going. Haven't had anything like that, but yeah.
What my problem is I've been so bad about my own socials. And so now I'm like you. I'm like, okay, you got to start posting some of this stuff to your own socials because mine goes out to iHeart and all these stations and all. And I'm like, what about your own? So I've been trying to take a more active stance and like being like, okay, you did this interview. It's airing this week. Let's get some of those clips up to your own stuff. You know what I mean? But like,
Absolutely. But it's a funny thing because TikTok's a whole other animal. Like that's not really something I would put on Instagram because usually I'll put up an interview with voice and sound. And she's like, no, it's literally like 5 seconds of him. And she put it in slow-mo and then she put his face up close and she like turned it into a movie, into a romantic movie. And listen, I'm not saying it is romantic in any way, but that's how she made it look. And so like, yeah, it's every time I turn on, I have new notifications of people like, oh my gosh.
I love that. And where is all of your, like, is there a social we can go to or a site that we
Yeah.
can get all of your links?
Yeah. So at Nikki Novak is my own. Definitely check out Fandango's socials because they post my interviews. And then I also do Rotten Tomatoes as well. So Rotten Tomatoes channels and then definitely check out our YouTube channel and our homepage and Fandango at Home, like we talked about before. There's like all those, basically all the old movies that we talked about are all on Fandango at Home. But yeah, if you want to find me, I'm at Nikki Novak. And if you scroll way, 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 way back on Instagram, you'll see the photo of me and Bill Murray that somebody took behind the scenes.
I'm going to do that because I want to see it now. Finally, and I'm sorry, I've gone way over your time. What will you be doing or watching on Valentine's weekend?
So I'm definitely going to see Pretty in Pink in theaters because I don't think I ever saw it in a theater.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just really curious how it translates when you're so used to seeing it a certain way. But I do have plans to see Wuthering Heights again, like a Valentine's kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I saw it, you see it at a screening and you're trying to think of questions and
Yep.
you're doing all that kind of thing. But looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, because
And then
now
I'm
you
gonna
can
go see a
enjoy it
horror movie. So tell me what I should go see. What horror movie are you recommending to me as the
Ooh.
anti-Valentines?
Oh, now I gotta look really quick.
It doesn't have to be in theaters, just any.
Oh, Heart Eyes. Heart Eyes. I don't know. Did you see it?
Mhm.
You did? Did you like it?
Yeah. I mean, this is gonna we'll never talk again after I say this, but horror is my least favorite genre.
It makes sense. So horror is my favorite genre. I mean, obviously I'm like a cinephile, but horror, I like bad horror, good horror. It doesn't matter. Made with a $3 budget, made with a $300 million budget. I love horror. And which probably says a lot about a lot of things, but for me. But Heart Eyes, I really loved because it was so kind of weird or quirky, I'll say. And it kind of was satirical on like the slasher genre, but also had this like kind of fun satirical romance angle. Like I just loved it. I loved it. It's so weird and fun and kind of out of the box. Is that the word? Is that the term? Out of the box?
Yeah.
That's what I would have recommended if you hadn't seen it. Dracula, A Love Story, though.
I should see that because I
should.
meant to see it, and I know it came out like
today.
beginning of
Well,
February, right? Yeah.
Yeah, depending on when they watch or listen, but yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not a horror. I mean, it has horror elements, but it's more like a gothic romantic drama, tragic gothic romantic drama, if that make sense.
Mhm.
But it really is. I really do love it. And I love Caleb, and Zoe Blue plays his
Yeah.
love, and she's really great. I mean, I really, really enjoyed it. So
Okay,
I
so
want to know
I'm
your
gonna go
thoughts
see
on it.
that, and you're gonna go see
I'm gonna watch Pretty in Pink. Oh, and Wuthering Heights. Yes,
yeah, must see. You should do a double feature.
that would actually be cool.
Then next time I see you, you're gonna be wearing a shirt that says, "I love romance."
You never know. Crazier things have happened. Or I heart with like a bloody heart romance. Actually, that's a good idea, actually, though. Uh,
And I'll be in black, and I'll be like, "I'm into slasher movies now."
that's so funny. Thank you so much. I
Oh my
really,
gosh, thank
really
you, Kyle.
appreciate it. And please come on again and we'll talk whatever.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for having me,
Of
and,
course.
look forward to chatting again, and happy Valentine's Day.
Yes, you too. You too.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Weekly. Hear all the latest at popcultureweekly.com.